Hello, me and my husband. My husband's just over the barrier over there. You can't see him. I've got my big coat on because I'm bloody freezing in here. So I look quite like I should be. Well, I don't know. It's not real fur. Before you start, it's not real bloody fur. Oh, I've got my noise on. I'm down there. Right. So we're on chapter 3 now. I've still got my fancy head because I'm quite liking that. I don't know whether I'm going to do it when I actually leave the house. I don't know if I'm brave enough. But 2026, new hair. Right. My husband's here. Say hello.
Hello.
Okay. Right. Oh, that was funny. There was 6, now there's 1. Right. Happy New Year. Chapter 3 of Tripolar by me, which I wrote. So maybe I started it in 2009 because Happy New Year, Chapter 3, 2010 New Year's resolutions. Oh, it's earlier than I thought. Mark. Yeah. Right. So 2010 New Year's resolutions. Write 1,000 words a day. Take a picture of the lilac tree every day. Small achievable goals. The next 1,000 words would have to be written with a pen. The glare of the laptop had given her a headache. It was definitely slower, not to mention illegible. They had all stayed up to watch fireworks exploding around the London Eye. Youngest son, all covered in glue, wondered who picked up all the sticks, and then they all wondered. No one knew the answer. Lots of cold-looking people cheered, and Jules Holland played the piano on BBC Two again. She hoped she would be able to read her writing when she had to stick it all on the laptop. She was conscious of the fact that there were fewer red zigzags when using a pen and paper. Doctor Who made no sense at all. Bernard Cribbins was crying, and the green cactus people were quite convincing. The words paradox and time vortex were used, but this didn't help much. New Year's resolution number 3. Read and understand The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, including memorising some of the phrases. A, to prove she had, and B, to look cool in front of people who thought memorising phrases from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was cool. Hello, Sunflower, child of God. I know that's my son. He's bloody idiot. I'm number 1. Oh, hello, Chloe. They're all in the bloody chat room. Oh, so basically it's just me. And I'm watching, and Mark is. So basically it's just my family. What do you think of my hair? Instead of Frida Kahlo, we said it was Frida Car Wash. We thought that was funny. Right. Every time. Oh, hi, John. Every time I mention youngest son covered in glue, Chloe, that's your boyfriend. Because he was a little sod. Right, Chloe. Yeah, she's here. I don't know if she is or if Connor's just nicked her phone and is pretending she's here to give me confidence. Anyway, right. After about 150 words, she wondered if you could learn shorthand online. Trekkies. She knew that would get a zigzag. Some famous bloke was on Celebrity Mastermind and he was a Trekkie. She thought about Trekkies for a while and experienced a slight pang of jealousy. She then thought about that for a while. They're focused, they're easy to buy for, and they're a bit nerdy. She'd always wanted to be a nerd, but wasn't clever enough. She liked people who learnt Monty Python sketches off by heart and played Dungeons and Dragons. She had had some friends who did this, but was too nervous to join in. She wished she hadn't been. They had had the same sense of humour as her, and she was having a problem finding people like that these days. Damn, Annika Rice is winning. Hopefully she'll be rubbish at general knowledge. She then wondered for ages what subject she should learn for Mastermind. Miss Marple, The Life and Times of, and the Adventures of Miss Marple, or Miss Marple Meets the Mysterious, that sort of thing. She's saying pass a lot. Nancy sat watching Annika smugly, knowing that you don't say pass, as they can use it against you later. It didn't make any difference, the doctor from Casualty won. And he just lives down the road. 21:55 p.m. She realised that she wouldn't reach 1,000 words today. She didn't know whether to blame the headache, Celebrity Mastermind, or the pen. She refused to beat herself up about it. It was the first day of 2010. Let's keep it positive. She also refused to have a bloody headache tomorrow, so would make up for it then. Good night. Morning. Connor said, I'm now adult child covered in sunflowers. Takes after his mother. Right. She woke up with a headache, decided it must be constipation, so made a point of having herbal tea and coffee for breakfast. Before doing this, she remembered to go outside and take a picture of the lilac tree. Whilst on a high for succeeding in fulfilling her first, or was it her second, New Year's Eve resolution, she opened the first bill of 2010, had a mild anxiety attack and gave it to her mum to look at until she was in the right place for bills. Connor's got humour, thumbs up. It was a frosty morning and she thought it would make the picture of the lilac tree considerably different from yesterday. After all, every other plant in the garden looked white and frosty, so why was the lilac tree the only thing in a garden that looked exactly the same as it did without the glistening, shimmery, icy droplets of Jack Frost's breath? She compared pictures, January the 1st and January the 2nd, 2 completely different days, 2 completely different weather conditions, 2 entirely identical photographs. The herbal tea seemed to work around lunchtime, so she was able to put yesterday's scribbling onto the computer. She had written approximately 500 words, better than she thought, but obviously not as many as she had planned. She made a decision to eat more sprouts and drink more herbal tea. Constipation was stopping her writing her book. Ridiculous. She was in the kitchen, sat at the table, better for the digestion, and left armrest was trying to sit on her lap. This led to an annoying amount of typos and hairs on her brown fleece. She was used to this. Most garments were hairy, and she secretly hoped people thought she was really into mohair jumpers. January the 2nd was uneventful, as had been the whole of 2009. But she did feel positive and was determined to make some changes in 2010. But this would start on the 4th when she went back to work. There was no point in trying to make positive changes in the kitchen. She was typing, and she had taken a picture of the lilac tree, for heaven's sake. The last sentence totally motivated her, and she went online and booked up to do a counselling course. Back in the net. She thought about how many big decisions had been made at kitchen tables and decided probably most of them. The above activity had taken about an hour. 5 minutes to find the course, 5 minutes to fill in the form, and 50 minutes of patting herself on the back about it. She leaped out of bed this morning. Yeah, right. She had struggled and almost fell out of bed this morning. Realised her old back problem was making a painful comeback. Sitting at a kitchen table had its drawbacks. Looked out of the window. Realised that the picture of the lilac tree would be exactly the same as the last 2 days, but took it anyway. She also took a picture of the rose tree bush thing by her living room window, and of the green, the heart-shaped bit of grass in the middle of the surrounding council and non-council houses that doubled up as a roundabout. She was just getting into this photography lark when the camera told her something needed inserting, so she switched it off. 4,090 words. Mum's a lilac tree. That's Connor. 4,090 words. She couldn't work out if she was in credit or debit regarding daily word allowance, so spent the next hour trying to work it out. She couldn't remember which day she had started, but thought it might have been December the 28th. This meant she was nearly 2,000 words behind schedule, including today's. Okay, not to worry. Just have a really prolific day today. Back to work tomorrow, bugger. Last night had been nice. She had been too depressed to cook the 3 for £5 frozen party snacks on New Year's Eve night, so decided to do it last night. The main part of the cooker hadn't been mended yet. It had decided to stop working on Christmas Day. This was the second Christmas in a row that it had decided to do this, and she wondered if it was trying to tell her something. This meant everything had to be cooked in the small bit of the cooker. She thought this bit might have been invented for spit roasting chickens, as it came with a sharp, spiky thing. This part of the cooker was only used at Christmas when the main part had its annual break. It was really thin and couldn't hold regular-sized baking trays. Everything was stacked in piles on top of tin foil. Nothing cooked at the same time, and it wasn't fan-assisted, so it took ages. They decided to eat the pudding first. That didn't need cooking. Night at the museum was on, but no one was watching it. Other portable technological wizardry was strewn across the table, making a nice quiet atmosphere for once. Reruns of Christmas TV equals earphones. Punching Barack Obama games equals earphones. Mahjong didn't make a noise. Everyone took a break for mini quiches and mini spring rolls and then went back to ignoring each other. Left armrest was annoyed because all the chairs with cushions on them were in use, so decided to sleep on a table. No one cared. No one was arguing. Why rock the boat? Sudden pang of anxiety. Is this a diary? Is this a book about writing a book? Who the hell would want to read this? Is this rubbish? What's the point? Am I kidding myself? Do all authors go through this? Okay, she suddenly thought that maybe it didn't matter. The point was to do something. The point was to stop wasting her life. Surely this was the point. Self-esteem and lack of. Quick visit to the depression forum. Youngest son, all covered in glue, had homework to do. Art. Draw someone sitting in a chair. Over the last couple of months, he had to draw hands, eyes, a nose, lips, and ears. This meant apparently that he could now draw the whole body. Nancy had an art degree and vaguely remembered it didn't work like that. It would be done 5 minutes after she had told him to go to bed, and it would be stressful. Homework, come and start it now. The thought of him doing it 5 minutes after she had told him to go to bed had prompted immediate action and shouting. It was met with a surprisingly positive response, but 10 minutes later had yet to produce said youngest son with pen, pencil, paper, or other art homework device. Youngest son, all covered in glue. What? Homework. Okay. She heard movement upstairs and was preparing herself for a moody, nearly teenager to descend in pyjamas attached to an electrical device. I'm having breakfast first. How anyone could call it breakfast at 1:09 p.m. she didn't know, but didn't say anything. An argument about who looked like Spock ensued. An old episode of Star Trek was on, and youngest son, all covered in glue, didn't think Spock looked like Spock. Remembering her allegiance to Trekkies, she fought Mr. Nimoy's corner until it was boring. Was that his name? Any of my socks anywhere? Asked 13-year-old son back from the cinema. Yeah, replied Mum with a 4,771 word count. Where? Asked 13-year-old son back from the cinema. In the sock bag, replied Mum with a 4,788 word count. In the sick bag? Asked 13-year-old son back from the cinema. Yeah, replied Mum with a 4,809 word count. An argument about a boiled egg followed, only to be directly replaced by another argument about the special effects of Star Trek. The above conversation / argument was ages ago. There had been hundreds since then. It was now 4:32 p.m. and food had been consumed, website had been served, and school bus passes had been found. The last activity was far too stressful to recount in a book. Why hadn't they looked in the organic, eco-friendly sack bag which contained the box which contained the Ramones mug birthday present in the first place? She had spent a fortune in September buying white school shirts and ties. She spent hours lovingly rescuing ties from imminent danger, only to hang them on the hook in the kitchen, which held the chalkboard for safety. She had washed and ironed, she had washed and used varnish on the shirts, and bought them extra large so they would last. Only to find that the school council had decided that they could wear polo shirts all year round now and not just in the summer. Well, the school council had a lot to answer for, because she had no flaming idea where the flaming polo shirts were, or if they were safe, the right size, or white. She sat and made a list in her head of all the things that needed doing by tomorrow. Haircuts would cause arguments. Getting bags ready would cause arguments. Finding polo shirts would cause arguments. Art homework had already caused arguments. Finding school bus passes had already caused arguments. Giving dinner money might be okay. 5:56 p.m, one haircut down, and one not going to happen at all due to the self-conscious 13-year-old back from the cinema having a flying fit about it. She wasn't 100% sure that the last sentence was very PC. What? You haven't done your 1,000 words today? Asked 13-year-old back from the cinema, who had just come back from smaller 13-year-old's house. No, I've had a headache, said stressed-out, guilt-ridden mum to 13-year-old back from the cinema, who had just come back from smaller 13-year-old boy's house and was now nowhere to be seen. Not only was he nowhere to be seen, he was nowhere to be seen, heard, or hit. He had just demanded that he make the dinner. He got out frozen meatballs, oregano, mixed herbs, sage, basil, soy sauce, and spaghetti, which rather obviously fell out all over the floor when he turned it upside down to read the cooking instructions, then completely vanished. Eventually things were cooked and the washing up was left in the sink. Everyone settled down to ignoring each other in front of their various technical pieces of equipment of choice, and all was well. Nancy still had the nagging feeling that polo shirts weren't going to find themselves, but anything was possible in this house. That bloody bit of wrapping paper. Polo shirts, wrapping paper, unpaid bills, washing up in the sink, 1,000 words a day, back to work tomorrow. She did not consider any of these conducive to the creative mind. She had a quick check She had a quick check and cheered up. She only needed another 600 words to go today. That was pretty good going. That technically proves she could write 2,000 a day. Oh. Poirot was on. That didn't help with the motivation she needed in sorting out school uniforms. Last day of the holiday, 10 days of freedom, and tomorrow back to reality. Reality is so rubbish. Then she remembered that this was reality. She wasn't in a cartoon, was she? She felt like typing about how hard life is and the ins and outs of the depressive personality, but decided to keep this for the forum and not her book, which was supposed to cheer her up. This book was supposed to cheer her up. What about the next one? Next one? That's optimism for you. I'm starting to ache. She realised that her book was disjointed and all over the place. Maybe there would be a need for a first draft after all. She glanced up at Poirot and noticed that one of the women actresses had had a facelift. She knew she couldn't say who, libel status. Not that her publisher would let it stay in. Maybe she would put it in for fun and let the publisher sort it out. She wondered how much publishers cost. She had Googled about them but decided she didn't understand a word of it, but hopefully she would by the time she needed to. You've got to sort out the camera for tomorrow, haven't you? Said Mum with polo shirt issues to youngest son all covered in glue. Yeah, it just needs an SD card put in it, replied youngest son all covered in glue. Yeah, I know, lied Mum, who was getting a cold. 22:28 p.m. She had finished sorting out uniforms. 13-year-old back from the cinema would have to continue wearing a shirt and tie due to only having one off-white polo shirt which didn't fit. Youngest son covered in glue could wear that. She also discovered a brand new twin pack of shirts which still had the price on, £9, which were going to get some bloody wear. Bloody school council. She decided she knew exactly the kind of kid who joined the school council, and she didn't care for them or their communist agenda one little bit. They both had socks, pants, school jumpers, school trousers, bus passes and dinner money. One had a bath, the other had a haircut. That was pretty amazing by anyone's standards, except in the Communist Council, of course. I feel ill. They were all in bed by 10:41 p.m. with the lights off, including left armrest, who was now snoring by her right foot. Nancy decided to take her laptop to bed and finish her word quota. She grabbed a handful of Cadbury's roses to take with her because tomorrow was the 4th. Positive things started tomorrow, the most painful of which would be not having trifle with her slim fast. She looked at the battery symbol in the bottom right of the monitor. She hoped it would last another 200 words. She hadn't had enough hands to carry the laptop, roses, large cup of tea, left armrest and her computer pluggy in. I feel really ill. She sighed. She didn't actually, but it was always in books at some point or another. She was thinking about work tomorrow. 10 days off, it felt like 10 weeks. She knew this was good, but it didn't make getting up at stupid o'clock tomorrow even more difficult. She was getting confident now that she might even have enough battery life for 10 minutes in the depression forum if she was lucky. Someone had recently posted about losing a pet, and she was particularly interested in finding out the full story behind that. She thought the only person who owned a pet was Squawk Y01, and that was a budgie. How did you lose a budgie? When she gave it a few seconds thought, she realised it was actually quite easy to lose a budgie. Open window scenario, she expected. That is a bit stupid, though. But then again, Squawk Y01 never came across as very intelligent in her posts. They were mainly concerning the new words she had taught her budgie, etc. Hold the phone. I do believe I am up to and beyond allocated word quota. I think I'll start a new chapter tomorrow. And that's it for today. So that was chapter 3. And I'm going to Cardiff to see David Byrne from Talking Heads tomorrow. So we won't have one tomorrow. So I could either do another one now, but I can't be bothered, or I could do 2 on Tuesday, or I just don't matter. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Me going back in my past, and I'm enjoying it. Bye. Mark says bye, but he's over there.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.